I got a gummy worm in my mouth, sorry. Hi. There you all are. Isn't this pretty? We have plants and birds. I think that's a. That looks like a. I can't tell if that is that a bird or a fish, Liam. The little one. It's something, but it's special. We're coming to you from Winchester, Massachusetts tonight. In the backyard, just ate some salmon, some asparagus, hanging with good friends. Exactly 2 weeks after I got my second vaccination, so this is my first like hang like a human. I showed up and didn't wear a mask, got to hug my friends. What's better than that? I miss that. Takes another token, switches to another line. That's how the day begins. That's how the day begins. Picking up a shovel, dreaming of the summertime. That's how the day begins sometimes. On a crawl, yeah, we're working overtime. On a crawl, make it through December time, and it feel like I'm still asleep in the same old dream. Would you notice if the world was spinning upside down? Pours another coffee, wipes the sleep out of her eyes. That's how the day begins. That's how the day begins. Pressing on a snooze bar, stealing 9 minutes of time. That's how the day begins sometimes. On a crawl, yeah, we're working overtime. On a crawl, yeah, to make it through the super time, and I feel like I'm still asleep in the same old dream. Would you notice that the world was spinning upside down? Arms around a lover, steal a kiss before the grind. That's how the day begins. That's how the day begins. Hiding beneath the covers, cotton mouth, cotton minds. Yeah. That's how the day begins sometimes. On a call, yeah, we're working overtime. On a call to make it All right. Oh, you guys can clap. So I am in the home of my friends Mark and Colleen and Liam and Alyse, and Mark and I. For those of you who have been and hung with me at every gathering, you've heard some stories about Mark and I in the past. But you know, Mark is one of the guys that I really started playing guitar with, you know, and you know, it's funny because I've been doing a lot of interviews over the last months about the Gathering series and all the incredible stuff that this community has experienced together over the last 434 nights, right? And the classic interview question for someone who has not prepared well for an interview. And now you know the secret, okay? If you're ever watching an interview with a musician and they get the question, what are your influences? There will be a number of answers. They will probably have great answers. It'll probably be a lively conversation, but there'll be a voice in the back of their head saying, this guy didn't prepare for this interview. And that's why he's asking me, or she is asking me this question. You might be able to hear that we have some added percussion with the plane engines over us. I am no stranger to that in Chelsea, and we're in Winchester, Massachusetts. So for those of you in other parts of the country, in the world, a little further north, a little further west from Boston is where we are right now. Kind of. That's accurate, right? For the most part. Yeah. We were gathering from Gloucester last night up on the shore. I spent the day. I woke up and I walked on the beach, and that was really nice. And it's been a good day, and it's nice to end the day. It's nice to end the day with friends. It's nice. It is true. I saw some comment. That's it. Sometimes you're on a flight path. It all has to do with the winds. And those of us in Boston, we know some nights you're on the flight path. Allie and I got air conditioning in the apartment, but we would watch for a while. We would be watching. We don't have a TV. But we watch Netflix, or we watch the Sox from a computer in our bed, and that's how we watch TV at night. And before we had air conditioning, all the windows in our place would be open, and we were in Chelsea, which is literally next to Logan Airport, and so I would we would pause every time a plane flew overhead, because it was so loud. I mean, the wheels almost hit the top of our apartment, and so I would always pause and I would say, sorry babe, it's kissing time. I need one right here before we start again. It's our tradition. She don't see the skyline is fading, Desiree's in it again, eager to fill in the spaces, unwinding the tangles, the scratch of her pen. Remember her walking in circles, holding her head in her hand. Thought I failed the audition, then her dizzy decision come playing my rock and roll band. Hey, Desiree, it's a fine mess you got yourself in. You're tangled in tragic and walking away, and they're calling your name out again. Hey, look at you, fine operating she'll put on a show. They'll never get close to you, they'll never know. Yeah. Desiree's up on the ledge again, but her heart, it still lives underground, where it's building a home filled with rhythms and bows and the warmth and the cradle of sound. Hey, 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 Desiree, it's a fine mess you got yourself in, tangled and tragic and walking away, and then calling your name out again. Hey, hey, look at you go, fine operation shows, put on a show. Yeah, they'll never get close to you, they'll never know. She's back in the green room and screaming. She says, I hate every word that I sing. This curtain call's killing me. What do they want from me? We're dancing like dolls on a string. I say the car's packed, let's drive to the mountains. Let this bumper car tragedy end. She looks up in surprise, mascara stained eyes, says then we wouldn't get to do it again. Hey, 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 Desiree, it's a fine mess you got yourself in. You are tangled and tragic and walking away, and calling your name out again. Hey, 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 look at you go, tied up and torn, you sure put on a show. Never get close to you, they'll never know. Yeah. Ah, thank you. Thanks, Colleen. Yeah. I tried to look, this morning I was thinking about our gathering tonight. I tried to look at songs that I have not played in the last, at least in the last month and a half for you. So pulling out some of the rarer tunes. Dark and Stormies. Made by my buddy Mark. This may be, in 434 nights, my first gathering dark and stormy. Interesting. I mean, I've had a lot of time to broaden myself. I really haven't taken advantage of that too much. Mark, I think this is the first gathering dark and stormy.
Woo!
Yeah. It's a big night. It's a big night. It's not a lot of change that happens sometimes.
It's also the first night of having 5 dark and stormy.
All right, what do I want to play for you guys? Been thinking a lot about my past this week, hanging with my dad down on a cape. I grew up down the road in a little town called Wayland. This is a song I wrote about that place. Grew up in the backwoods of a small town, my hometown. I sneak out through the backyard where the boys would be waiting around. And we'd go creeping and the night was our time. Oh, I remember the way that the moon would shine. and all of the mischief done and the lessons learned. The times I kicked on through and the times I was burned. And it's not so far that I can't see. It's still a part of me. It's the highest tide. It's the paths we fly. It's an unpaved road, it's a rocky ride. And all I could do is shake my head from side to side. She must have been 4 years older, I was so young, just 14. I saw her staring at me, it was a look I had never seen. She sent me ever so slow as she came around, yeah. Oh, I remember the way she let me down. All of the wonder and the mystery as I glimpsed the man that I would learn to be. And she's not so far that I can't find it with me all the time. It's the highest tide. It's the paths we fly. It's an unpaved road, it's a rocky ride. And all I can do is shake my head from side to side. And I'm still keeping time to the things I've left behind. Fill up the tank as I head west, out of town, yeah. I turn the radio up to my favorite sound. A guitar strumming with the sound of the wheels on Highway 9. And I wonder, will I remember this day for the rest of time? It's the highest high. Paths we fly. It's an unpaved road, it's a rocky ride. And all I could do is shake my head from side to side. Okay, so as is often the case, I was in the middle of saying something and I got sidetracked. But in the beginning of the gathering, I was saying this. Mark, the guy that I'm hanging with tonight, he was one of the first, and I've talked about, I know I've talked to you a little bit about back in high school, my buddy Mike Morado, who I started writing my first songs with and playing with. I was playing drums in his band. Mark and I had a band in college. We called it Fat Harvey, and I played hand percussion in that band. We had some really fun times playing music together there too. But man, we had an epic journey, and I've told a story or two about. We drove across country. It's the first time we drove across country in this nasty little Econoline utility van that I had bought for $700. And we called him Jim. And every night, and we didn't have any money, we had to get to Berkeley, California, where we rented rooms in a frat house. You could rent empty rooms in this frat house. It was like, the kind of house where, like, you stick to the floor when you walk, that kind of thing. But there were really cheap deals on rooms for the summer, and I taught swimming lessons at a little pool, and we could, I think we rented rooms. I think it was $400 for the whole summer or something like that. Yeah, yeah, and the fraternity kitchen. There was food that the frat brothers and there was food that the frat brothers would not eat. It was that bad. It was like really old pasta and creamed corn that I would cook every night for dinner for myself. I don't even think Mark was willing to stoop that low. But they also had beer that was apparently so bad that the fraternity brothers refused, and there were cases and cases of this beer called Glick. And it was spelled like Gluck with like the two dots, an umlaut over and the phrase was "just say it," which we assumed was Glick. So
Don't think about it.
so we spent the whole summer drinking this beer from the closet, and every time we opened a beer, we'd say "Glick." It's pretty good. But it was also, it was a summer where, almost every day Mark and I would sit, and Mark was a much better guitarist than I was, and we would sit down and we would play together every night. And when we were driving across the country at nights, we couldn't afford to eat out. I had a little hibachi stove in the back of the van, and so we would combine a can of SpaghettiOs and a can of chili. We called it Chilios. And we would eat Chilios every single night on a hibachi, and we'd play guitar while we were cooking. And crushed up saltines. That was the nutritional content. We added in. Some people do nutritional yeast. We did crushed up saltines. And we would play. And oftentimes where we would cook and where we would eat and where we would play would be determined by when Jim, the van, stalled out for the night. Jim had, on any given day, 8 to 10 hours of driving in him before he would get tired. We don't know anything about cars. And to this day, I don't know much about cars. But we certainly didn't know anything about cars back then. But we did know that when Jim stalled out, and we pulled him over to the side, and we played guitar, and we ate Chilios, and we ended up crashing on a futon, that the next day, usually he'd start up again and give us another 8 to 10 hours. And that was how we made our way across the country. It was also that's where I really started, I was playing guitar all the time with Mark. And when people ask me who my influences are, I know what they're wanting to hear, because they're wanting to hear where the songwriting generates from, what has inspired me musically over my life. But really, my buddy Mark is one of my biggest musical influences in my life. And there are a lot of memories that he and I have together, and we've written a bunch of songs that I have yet to share with you, that we got to figure out a way to find them somewhere.
I have.
He says he has it, but he's suspect. But I'd like to share. Some of those were pretty good. They're all fun songs. Yeah. I remember one day. So we were in Berkeley, and I was working at this pool called a Strawberry Canyon, and I would teach little kids how to swim. I was a swim instructor, and I specialized in kids that were afraid to get in the pool, afraid to go in the water. So and then were a handful of swim instructors in the pool, and so every day when I would come in, they would give me to kids that were not wanting to go swimming, and I would teach them how to play all sorts of fun games, and I'd trick them into enjoying the water. Basically, that was my job for the summer, and it was great. And that's what I did. I would hike up or drive up from the fraternity house to the pool, and I would work as teaching little kids how to swim. That was my summer. It was a good summer. And I've played this song a couple times, but only a couple times, and only at the gatherings. But there was this one day where I was working at the pool, and there's this at the end of my day, this woman, this really pretty girl. I mean, I was a boy, she was a girl, but she was my age, right? College age-ish. Really shy looking gal came up to me, and she gave me this little, it was about this big, little card, and she had painted on it. She'd done a little painting of a fish. It was really cool. And on the back, she said, the note read, "You were my favorite fish. I like watching you swim with your little fishes." And I thought that was the sweetest thing. And I think she was really shy, and that was like a big deal for her to give that to me. And I never saw her at the pool again, unfortunately. Every day after that, I came back and I would teach my lessons, and I would look out for this gal, and she never came back after that. And I thought that was beautiful and sad and sweet and worthy of writing a song. And it's a short song, but I'm gonna try and play it. I call this the best way to start. I've played it a couple times for y'all. I don't know if I've ever actually told you that story before. And you'll hear some chords in this song actually that are a little bit fancier, maybe jazzier than the chords that I usually use in songs. And I, at the time that I wrote this song, was playing with Mark, and he had taught me a couple of those chords, and so I incorporated them into this song. I'm gonna try and hit the high notes. There's a lot of high notes in this song. Okay, hold on a second. You left me a sweet mystery, then walked out the door before I could follow you. And I wonder what you might be like, but I'll never know for sure. Oops. It's alright, I don't mind. In a world where we all come and go, you showed me the best way to start. You gave me a piece of your heart.
Nice.
Those are your chords.
Yeah, I recognize. That's great.
That's one of the cool things, everybody, it is fun to be young. Don't get me wrong. It is fun to be young. These memories I've been talking about happened when I was young. I love that. And but you know, one thing you can't have when you're young. One thing you can't have when you're young, you can't. You just haven't earned it. You can't have an old friendship. You can't. And there is nothing like that. Old friendships just get deeper with time, and that is one of the coolest things and the best things about getting older. On the way, I can't believe you kept this. Holy cow. This was our favorite truck stop that we stopped at. Oregon. You know when this was?
The way to the gorge? That was on the way to the gorge.
Uh-huh. So after we had gotten to California, we then did a run of fish shows up the West Coast. And we saw them play at a place called the Gorge. Is that in Oregon or Washington? Was it in Oregon? And this, Fat Harvey's truck stop. Don't pass Fat's gas. That's it. And then our band in college, ooh, it kind of looks nice on me. I like it. This might be my new stage hat. Our band in college was then called Fat Harvey, based on this place. This is a good spot, man. I can't believe you kept this hat. It's awesome. I may have to leave with this. I may have to keep this.
It's in gin. It's been out of the gin.
Wait for that plane to pass. I will learn that I can trust my vision till the end of I had a box of courage, I would know the truth behind the lies. I'd tear them from their pale disguise. I would excavate my sorrow, tear it from my inside through my spine, trail it like the dust behind. Pick me up, bring me in, get me through the bad times. We can burn all your things and then write a letter to your mother and your father, so we'll be remembered as we drift past the sun that doubles to the end of time. Wish I had me shotgun vision, I would know just when to draw the line, know when to run the light and pay the fine. Be a harbinger of joy and passion, panacea stretched out through the mind. I would paint it with a brush on fire. Pick me up, bring me in, get me times. Tell your soul, tell your friends, and I'll write a letter to your teachers and your servants, so you'll be remembered as we driven past the sun that shudders till the end of time. Never gonna give it up. Never gonna find it, never gonna give it up. Gonna find it, I will derive my desire by my inside. Never stop. Every son I find I will lead. I will fly in a straight line. Pick me up, break me in, get me through the bad times. Tell your moon, tell your wind, and I'll write a letter of your service and your favors, though we're all forgotten as we tread past the sun that crumbles till the end of. I will learn that I can trust my vision till the end of time. Thanks. For those of you that know that song, I forgot a bunch of it, didn't I? That's all right. We muscled on through. We muscled on through. Rain came down all in my bed. The rain came down all in my bed. The rain came back and it went ahead. Rivers too wide to cross in time. Rivers too wide to cross in time. But you know the river, yeah, don't cross my mind. Rising tide was away my town. The rising tide was away my town. You know the rising tide sure bring me down. Rain came down on all in my eyes. Rain came down all in my eyes. But compared to my tears, the rain fell dry. I said, compared to my tears, the rain fell dry. I said, next to my tears, yeah. Next to my tears, compared to my tears, the rain fell dry. How y'all doing out there? It's Thursday night. We've almost survived yet another week. Tomorrow, I go back out with the bandies. Ooh, now I know that's a song sparrow. Things you learn when you go birding with your daddy. I meet up with the bandies, and we have 2 shows in New Hampshire, and then we go down to Beacon, New York this weekend, I think. And on Sunday, not only after the gathering, I'm also going to be making an appearance at Ellis Paul's festival, online festival. So it's a fun, it's a big weekend we have scheduled. And it's actually pretty fun too. Each week these days, we get to field a whole bunch of offers that come in from our booking agency from different venues around the country that are planning to open back up and want us to play, and that is really exciting. So there are, and for those of you who have been waiting to see us in a proper venue, stay tuned. We not all of the stuff that we are scheduling we can announce yet, but it's getting announced, and it's happening. It's happening all over the country. So it's going to be nice to be back out on the road. And it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, baby, if you don't know by now. Ain't no use to sit and wonder why, baby, it'll never do you somehow. When the blues to crow at your break of dawn, look at your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I've been traveling on. Don't think twice, it's alright. Woo. And it ain't no use in shining on your light, baby, the light I never know. Ain't no use in shining on your light, baby, I'm on the dark side of the road. Yeah, I wish there was something who would do all set, trying to make me change my mind and stay where she. We never did too much talking anyway, yeah. But don't think twice, it's okay. Whew. And it ain't no use shining on your light, baby, the light I never knowed. Ain't no use shining on your light, baby, I'm on the dark side of the road. Yeah, thinking and wondering, walking down the road. Once loved that woman, that child I am, though. Well, I gave her my heart, but she wanted my soul. Well, don't think twice, it's alright. Woo. So long, honey baby, where I'm bound, I can't tell. Goodbye's too good a word, baby, so I'll just say fare thee well. I ain't saying you treated me okay. Could've done better, babe, but I don't mind. Just kinda wasted my precious time. Well, don't think twice, it's alright. Don't think twice, it's alright. Yeah, don't think twice, it's alright. Aw, thank you. Well, it's been really nice hanging out with y'all. Isn't it crazy? Still feels nice hanging out with y'all. 434 nights. As we spiral our way towards the big 500. What a thing. I never heard of anything like that, by the way. A community hanging out for 500 nights in Rome. What a thing we get to be a part of for a little part of time. Pretty awesome. I want to thank you all. Our new song, I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy, but our new song, Devil's Kiss, 2 days after the release, we have over 15,000 streams on Spotify right now. And I know y'all are playing it and sharing it and streaming it, and that means so much to me. So I'm gonna just keep thanking y'all. And also, our video for Switching to Whiskey right now almost has 50,000 views on YouTube. And you know, look, I'm not a guy that really cares a lot about the numbers, but we live in a world where a lot of people care about numbers, and it feels really good to have so many of y'all supporting us and listening to what we're doing and watching what we're doing and enjoying our music. So thank you for that. Dark and stormy night. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink to the wind at our back. May it always blow steady wherever you roam. May it turn when you're ready to carry you home. May it keep you ahead of the rain. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink to the heavens above. Some say it's a glimpse of God's great design. And some say it's the science of all things combined. May we look up and always feel wonder. Here is to us all that we see. Here's to our hearts and the air that we breathe. Here's to around in good company. Here's to the drink that we share. raise up your glasses. Let us drink to this time that we have. But these moments pass lightly and they won't come again. May our lives all burn brightly right up to the end. May we live them with joyous abandon. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink to the end of the day. Let us drink to work when working is through. Let us drink one of me. Let us drink one of you. Let us drink one to those who aren't with us. Here is to us and all that we see. Here's to our hearts and the air that we breathe. Here's to round and good company. Here's to the future. Here's to the past. Let us drink one down slow. Let us drink one down fast. Don't ever think let us drink one as if this night is our last. Here's to the drink that we share. Oh, it's to the drink that we share. Cheers, y'all. Please stay safe. Keep on looking out for one another. And I'll see you tomorrow.